Hello, my name is Melanie. I'm originally from Pasadena, Texas, and my parents are from two different towns in Mexico. My mom is from Tampico and my dad is from Ocampo. My first language was actually Spanish. My parents didn't know English as I was growing up, so they mostly talked in Spanish. And the more they talked in Spanish, it just stuck to me and became natural. As of now, I feel more comfortable and confident talking in English because it's everywhere nowadays. It's in school, it's with my friends, it's everywhere. Through pre-K to first, I was actually in bilingual classes, so most of what we spoke and what was taught to us was in Spanish. And then at the end of first grade and the beginnings of second grade was when English started to become introduced and more prominent in the school overall. There are various ways that they helped us learn English. Some of them were by yourselves or in groups or with other students. An example was getting little books that had very simple text, and we would all read out loud as a big group and then individually with someone from like a high school that would come over and help us read each day. Well, not each day, but like some days. And then we would have a helper in the classroom as well, and she would pull us out like at a small table with like 5 students and help us read one by one. I think there were 2 sides to it actually. In some ways it was effective because I am now a really good person like with writing and language and communicating with other people. But at the same time, it wasn't as effective because some teachers would actually force it on us, not just help us learn another language. Like they would want to substitute our Spanish with English. Personally, I wish that they wouldn't have forced us to learn English, but more of adding on to our own Spanish and to our own language. I also wish they would have done other things, different ways of teaching it other than just reading books and making us write, like copying the words with the pictures. Like there's students that learn different ways. Some are visual, some are auditory, and some are with manipulatives. So I wish it would have been different formats as to how we could have learned the language, not just reading books every day and writing, copying the words from a board. In my house as a child, it was always Spanish. We always talked in Spanish. And as the years went by and my siblings and I went into more of the English side of school and the language, my parents themselves tried to learn it as well. So when we would bring home books from the library that were in English, they'd read with us to try and learn themselves. But now, today, we still speak Spanish, but we also talk more English, not as much as Spanish though. Spanish is still very prominent in our household. There are actually different factors to it. There were personal and environmental. Personally, I always wanted to learn the language. I always felt like it would be very beneficial to know more than just my Spanish. And environmentally, my parents always encouraged me to do well in school and encouraged to know more than what we already knew. So when I would come home and I had a homework that I didn't normally understand, they would try and help me learn, or try to at least help me understand of it. And my teachers as well, they would challenge us, but they wouldn't force the language on us to the point where we just hated it. I I feel like in some ways it was beneficial, but sometimes it wasn't. It was because as of today I still talk in English and I still talk to my family and my friends and everyone at school in English, but at the same time it really limited my Spanish, and so as of today I still talk Spanish but not as well as I did back then. So I feel like learning more English and being forced from like a certain grade level till now, it really made me forget my Spanish in a way. So it's not like I know every vocabulary word that I did back then than I do right now. Being bilingual motivated me to learn other languages. As of now, I speak English and Spanish fluently, and I'm currently learning German as well. Knowing multiple languages brings new opportunities not only to yourself but where you're going. Next semester, I'm going into college knowing that Spanish and English aren't the only languages. It brings a sense of open-mindedness and allows you to be more accepting of other people and their cultures as well. I also feel like being bilingual brings more job opportunities to you, which is very, very beneficial. Not only because there's more of a variety from jobs you can choose from and work at, but you're also being able to communicate with people. Thank you for watching my interview and listening about my experiences as an English language learner.